Okay, you've written down all of your New Year's resolutions, you have them up on your vision board, you've prayed over them, and now it's time to put faith into action. If you're watching this video, you probably live a very full life, meaning people are probably relying on you for things. There are obligations to the left and to the right. There are so many things on your calendar. Sometimes it just looks like a big jumbled mess, and you can't actually accomplish the things that you want to accomplish because there are so many different scenarios and situations and circumstances that require your attention and energy. But I want to remind you that your dreams, your desires also require your attention and energy. We can't just give all of our time away to all of these things and not allot time for ourselves or allot time to the vision that we've been given so that we can steward that well. So in order for you to juggle all the plates that you have up in the air, you're going to have to recognize that time management is just a skill that you'll have to learn. Now, if you're not good at time management yet, that's okay. We're not going to judge ourselves through this process. We are going to begin at the beginning, and we're going to start where we are, and we're going to allow ourselves to ease into learning something new. If the things that I talk about here are nothing that you've ever done before, you never heard about it before, you find yourself convicted because you look back on things and you're like, oh my gosh, I've wasted so much time. We don't have time for that, okay? Like, give yourself a moment, take a deep breath, and then trust that you yourself are doing the right thing so that you can move forward in a way that is going to propel your success. We don't need to feel guilty about the things that we've done in the past or the things we didn't do in the past. Right now is about what the future is going to look like, and doing this time management training is really going to set you up for that. At least I hope it does. I recently did a live goal setting training on my channel. I'll make sure that that's linked up above, or you can click down below somewhere, where I talked about how to set big goals for yourself and start to make the strategic steps to making them happen. I have coached hundreds of people through almost a decade's worth of New Year's resolutions and transitions at this point, and one of the things that we always have to cover is time management, because we know the statistics. Most people will give up on their New Year's resolutions by the time we hit January 21st. It's not because the goal is too big, it's not because they're not smart, it's not because they're not capable. Usually it's because they don't have the strategy to support the vision that they've created for their life. And failure to flourish is usually the compounded effect of many things. Time management is one of them. My goal is to help you set yourself up for success so that you can go into the new year with the big dreams, with the big vision, but also the strategy to make it happen. So let's dive into some time management stuff. Before we dive in, I want you to make a promise to yourself that you're not just going to watch this video and then use it as theory. You're going to watch it and you're actually going to put it into practice, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to use some of these tools. What exactly is time management? Well, time management is your ability to steward the allotted time that you have in order to do the things that you need to do to accomplish the goals that you have set for yourself. Time management is one of those things that is a good indicator of how you're going to navigate your life into success. Time management is going to affect how you manage your money. Time management is going to affect how you navigate through relationships. Time management is going to affect where you live, what you do for a living. Like, there's so many things that are tied to your ability to manage your time well. And so I want to make sure that you have all the tools and resources and all of that stuff, so that 365 days from now, you can look back on your year and you can say, yes, I did everything that I possibly could with the time that I was given, and I feel really good about myself. But more than just feeling good about yourself, hopefully you will see the fruit of that labor in other tangible ways as well. Step number one are the practical materials that you need in order to set yourself up for success when it comes to your time management. Now, I'm also going to be doing a giveaway on some of these items, which I'll talk about later. So let's first get into it. When I started my business, so this is back in 2016, one of the first things that I had to do was get a hold of the time that I had, because I was a full-time doctoral student. I was starting my business. I still had a full-time job. I had obligations at church, family obligations. There were so many things kind of on my plate. So I need to make sure that I could navigate through all of those things well. The first thing that I did was I got myself a planner. A planner will save your life. Now, the thing about a planner is that when you use it, and when you use it properly, and I'm going to show you how in a little bit, when you use it properly, you have to be committed to doing what is in the planner and nothing else. Say that to yourself. I will do what is in my planner and nothing else. And that might seem a little bit extreme, but if you have never set up boundaries for yourself around your time, right? Around your energy, around your focus, and around your attention. This is a critical step to how well you're going to navigate through time management moving forward. If you put things on your calendar and you don't do them, you're only doing a disservice to yourself. If you don't put things on your calendar that are supposed to be on your calendar, you're only doing a disservice to yourself. So the only one suffering here is you, right? And of course, there's residual suffering, because sometimes, you're going to be late to things, or you're going to have obligations that you're not going to be able to meet because you didn't navigate through what the calendar says or what your planner says. So get yourself a good planner. Now, one of the main criteria that I have for a good planner is I don't just want the calendar, right? So obviously you can have a planner, I don't even know if you can see this, but you can have a planner that just looks like this, where it's just the calendar, like the calendar dates. That's fine, but I'm going to recommend that you go a little bit more granular than that. So I appreciate a planner that allows for me to see the days of the week, and not just the days of the week, but also the time stamps of the day. So 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., like all of those things laid out in different ways. I got this planner from Target. You're welcome to get this planner, but I'm going to be doing a giveaway of a planner, which I'll tell you how to enter later on. So I'll do the giveaway for the planner so you can get a planner that works really well. So this one has your hourly schedule. So it has the goals for the day, not the week, not the month, goals for the day. Like what are the top, 5, 6, what are the 7 things that you need to get done for the day? And then it also has your hourly schedule, so you can do 7 a.m., and you can write in the things, and then a place for notes. In case you forgot something, in case there's something you want to remind yourself, that goes there. So I love a planner that allows for me to get that focused and that specific with my schedule. Elevation, like if you're wanting to elevate your life or you want to move into a next level, oftentimes that next level comes with an element of specificity. The more specific you can get, the more boundaries you set around the things that matter the most, that's really going to help you move into that next season or into that next area of your life. But if you're just kind of all free and loose with it, and you're not paying attention to what your time is, and then you end up forgetting things, then a planner is definitely going to be good for you. But even if you are the most type A, I am always on time kind of person, if you are running a business, and this time management training is primarily for entrepreneurs because I have clients who've requested it. If you run a business and you have a family and you still are in your 9-to-5 job and you have speaking engagements, travel engagements, you're trying to write a book, you're creating a course, you're launching a program, you have 1,001 things that are on the docket. You need this. As somebody who didn't have to, like when I was in school, meaning like undergrad or even high school or even beyond that, when I was just working a 9-to-5 job, didn't have a business, I was not somebody who would forget things. I have a very, very good memory, and I can hear things or remember them. And anyway, my point is that what I realized is that the more things I added to my plate, the more forgetful I became. And it wasn't my fault. It's just a function of, attention and how our brains operate. There's only so much that you can remember on your own. So having some system that allows for you to recollect all of the different things that are required in order for you to move through your week swimmingly, I just think it's a good idea. So give yourself the gift of a planner or enter in the giveaway, because I will give one away. It probably won't be this one, but it will be one that I appreciate. There are many different kinds of planners on the market. I used to use the Law of Attraction planner, which is fine, and that was really good when I was first starting out with planning and stuff, but I don't need the frills. Like, there are some planners that are gonna ask you questions like, how did you do today? What was your monthly goal? Like, I don't need all of that. I really just need to see my agenda for the week. And so those are the kinds of planners that I prefer, like something very simple. This one's great. It's simple in that way. There's no frilly questions. It's not gonna ask me, what are my life's hopes and dreams? Like, use the goal setting class in order to do that. There's some space in the back for you to write notes, but that's it. So I prefer something simple like that. Now it will give you the month and it'll give you the day, and that's what you need. Okay, so now the second thing that you're gonna need in order to operate well with your planner is markers, highlighters, pens, pencils. This is about as fancy as I'm gonna get, but there are some people who really like to, highlight different things in different colors, write in different colored pens, use stickers, do whatever you need to do to make sure that your planner is what your planner needs to be. I just keep all of these in my little pouch. I've talked about this before when I did my Bible study tools, because I use the exact same tools for that. If you have many different things going on, like if you have a calendar for yourself, a calendar for your business, a calendar for your kids, a family calendar, then having different colors that you can use to highlight different things inside of your planner might be really beneficial if that helps your brain make sure to know who's doing what. So I would highly recommend getting some sort of highlighter or different color pen type of situation. A set of markers is also included in the giveaway as well. Next is a wall calendar. Now this is optional. This is not something that everybody has, but even when I was working at the university, like in my office, I would have a huge wall calendar like this. But if I'm sitting at my desk and I'm talking to a client, or I am trying to see what I have going on for the week, or if I'm gonna be in town for the week, I will have something like this up on the wall. Now this is last year's calendar. But I will have something like this on the wall, and then I will write on it. Now, the cool thing about this is you can use dry erase markers for it, so that if you write something on there, you want to erase it, you just erase it with a dry erase marker. But it really helps, because if you're sitting at your desk, you're on a phone call, you don't necessarily want to scroll through your phone or go to your calendar and look at this. Is just a quick glance up on the wall and you have it. It's also great if you have a family, and you can put this somewhere where the entire family can see, so that they sort of know what the obligations are, like what the time commitments are, like if there's soccer practice, or if somebody's going to be out of town, or if somebody needs to bring cookies for a bake sale. All of that can go here. It really does help support just the everyday activities of your family or yourself. So I would highly recommend this. It's going to be part of the giveaway as well. This seems like it's a lot of steps, and I understand that. But each week, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to make sure that everything is synced and that you have everything down on the calendar. So give yourself the gift of making sure that you have all these things. The next one is obviously some sort of digital calendar. iPhone, Android, tablet, iPad, it doesn't matter. The calendars are going to exist there. I use Google Calendar, and the reason why is because that's how people can book coaching sessions with me, is they can go to the link and then they can click on the link, and that syncs to my digital calendar. That also gives me notifications. So I'm not always at my desk where I'm looking at my calendar to feel like, okay, what am I doing now? So the notifications that pop up on my phone or on my smartwatch allow for me to stay on time for all of those things, and you can set that up however you want. You can get notifications 30 minutes before a meeting, an hour before a meeting, a day before a meeting, like whatever makes sense for you. But I would recommend, in a digital age, to have some sort of digital calendar, because flights and things, like if I'm booking a flight on delta.com, or if my assistant is booking a flight on delta.com, that's immediately going to go to my calendar, and it's going to tell me what time my flight is. So having a digital calendar and the notifications that come with the digital calendar make a ton of sense. Now, I'm not going to give away a digital calendar because you already have one on the phone that you have. Another thing I would recommend is some sort of notebook. I don't really use a notebook a ton because most of my stuff exists here on my tablet, where I will take notes here. But if you are not a tablet girly or an iPad girly, or guy, I'm not just, this isn't just for girls, by the way, but I just, will use my notes app in here to write down any notes that I have. But if you prefer good old-fashioned pen and paper, you're going to need that to help you navigate through. At least you're going to need it for what we're going to go through next. And now, step 2. If you want to do this exercise together, you're going to have to stop and pause the video, do the exercise, and then come back and listen to the rest. Or you can just listen through it once through, which I recommend listening through it once through and then going back and doing the exercises. So the next part is you need to take your notebook, take your tablet or your iPad, and I want you to write down everything that you have to do. Meaning, these are static things. These are things that do not change week to week. These are the things that are obligatory in your everyday or in your monthly or in your weekly life. So for example, you have to sleep. So you need to write that down. I have to sleep every day. You have to pick up your daughter from cheerleading practice Tuesdays and Thursdays. Write that down. I just want you to make a list. So none of this goes in your planner. It just goes on a piece of paper, a scrap piece of paper, inside of your journal, inside of your tablet, whatever. Write down everything. So cheerleading practice happens every single week. You have to go to your 9-to-5 job every single day. You have to go to church on Sundays. Not have to, but you're choosing to go to church on Sundays. You have Bible study on Wednesdays. Like everything that you absolutely do every single week, I want you to make a list of all of those things. Once you've made a list of all of those things, and this would be the time where you can pause the video. So if you've paused and you've come back, all right, once you've made a list of all of those things, next to whatever that is, I want you to write how many hours a week you spend doing those things. So for example, I'm going to use sleeping. Let's say you are a person who likes to sleep 8 hours a day. That's great. I love that for you. So next to sleep, you're going to say, okay, I sleep 80 hours a day. So 80 hours, you're going to calculate it. So 80 hours times 7 days a week. Oops, hello. So you're going to calculate the amount of time that it's going to take you to do that. So 8 hours a day times 7 days a week is 56 hours. So you spend 56 hours a week sleeping. That's great. I love that for you. Write it down. Maybe it takes you 30 minutes to drive to cheerleading practice and then another 30 minutes to drive back. Give yourself an extra 20 minutes of a buffer because you got to put kids in the car, whatever the case is. So then you have to calculate that. So it takes you an hour and 15 minutes on Tuesdays to make sure you go pick up your daughter and bring her home. It takes you another hour and 15 minutes to do it on Thursdays. So combined, that is 2.5 hours of your week. So you're going to write down next to cheerleading practice 2.5 hours, and you will do that for every single thing that is on your list. So for example, I'm going to just walk through an example for myself. This is not what I do now, but I remember vaguely what it was like when I was starting my business in 2016 and how I had to navigate through all of this. So for example, and I'll put everything up on the screen as I'm writing it here. So sleeping, I am more of a 7 hour a day, like sleep girly. But I'm gonna calculate 8 because obviously, it takes a minute to fall asleep. So I'm gonna say 8 hours times 7 days, so that is 56. When I was working my 9-to-5 job, I obviously had to be there every single day. I remember I worked 37.5 hours. So that was my 30s, that was work. So I put that there, 37.5 hours. And then it would take me an hour to drive there and back every single day during rush hour traffic. So that's 5 days a week. So if it took me an hour every single day, that's 5 hours of rush hour. Right? And then I was in my doctoral program at the time. So I was probably doing about 3 hours of schoolwork a week, like reading and writing papers, and then probably another 2 hours worth of class things that I needed to do, whether it was like group projects or things like that. So that was another 5 hours of school that I needed to make sure that I was taking care of because I had class and then I would have the assignments that I had to do. So I'm gonna calculate 6 hours because I feel like that's closer to what I had. So 6 hours of school per week, right? What else is on my docket? I had church stuff. So I've always been on my church's leadership. And so I would have church on Sundays and I would have to be there longer than, regular attendees. So I would calculate 5 hours for that. And then, so I'm gonna write down church, that's Sunday church, and that's 5 hours. I would have meetings, I would have Bible study. And so that would account for like another 4 hours in my week of like church activity. Another thing that I always will put on this is I'll always make sure to include any personal time, right? So for example, I would work out every single day. So I would work now. At this time, I was working at the university, so I would work out, but it was really a part of my day, so I didn't, it was like my lunch hour, so I didn't calculate it. But let's say it wasn't my lunch hour and I needed to make sure that I was going to the gym separate during the day and I wanted to go to the gym 4 days a week, I would calculate that in. So my gym is about 20 minutes from my house. So it would take me 40 minutes to go there and back. I would work out for about 45 minutes, so let's say an hour. So if I calculate that, and I would do it 4 hours a week, so 4 hours of workout time, and then 40 minutes times 4 is another 160 minutes. So that's another 2.6 hours of drive time. So I would add that to the 4 hours of workout time, and that gives me, so that's like gym. If I'm going too fast, you can slow it down, you can rewind it. I just wanna kind of calculate all of these things here. All right, so that's 6.6 hours. So let's say everything was tabulated of all of the obligations that I had. So I'm gonna add up all of the numbers that you see here, and that's gonna give us 120.1 hours. Now, okay, that's 121.1 hours. Things that I don't have in here. I don't have eating. I don't have, any extracurricular activities that I want to participate in, going to brunch with friends, coffee dates, I don't have that written in here. The way to be successful with this is to be honest with yourself and to recognize how much time does it truly take for me each week in order to do all of these things. So if you have to cook every day, if you have to sleep 10 hours a day instead of 8, you have to account for all of that. If it takes you 2 hours a day to cook and to eat and all of that stuff, then you have to account for that. So it's like another 14 hours. So all of that together, added in, according to what I have on the screen, is 134 hours. Now I want you to pay attention to something. My schedule took up 134 hours out of the day. Yours might take less or more, it doesn't matter. The point is that I want you to be very clear about how much time it takes for you to live your life, just as is, not adding in anything else. How much time does it take for you to live your life? So whatever number you came up with, I want you to circle it, and then I want you to take that number and I want you to subtract it from 168. Why 168? We have 168 hours in the week. So if I take my 134 hours and I subtract it from 68, I have 34 hours left. That's almost a full-time job. This is why having accountability with yourself is so incredibly important, because so many people say, I don't have time, there's never enough time. But it's not that there's not enough time, it's that you're not accounting for your time properly. So in my schedule, let's say this was my schedule, example, I have 34 hours left. What am I doing for those 34 hours? That 34 hours is your time to build, to dream, to execute, to do all of the things that you need to do that aren't a part of the obligatory cycle of your regular rhythms in your life. When I did this for myself and I realized I had over 30 hours of available time, then building my business became a little bit easier because I recognized like, oh, I have more time than I thought. This is not a, I don't have enough time during the day. This is, and I'm not managing my time well, so the time is getting away from me. Now, obviously there's a little bit of leeway in the amount of time that you have left because things come up, you get a flat tire, a kid is sick, you gotta run to the school real quick to go pick him up. So all of that is, you know, like those are anomalies. Those are not regular things that are happening on a daily basis. But if every single week you have 30 extra hours to do something with, it is up to you to decide what you're going to do with those hours. Now, if you're building a business, this is where you have to recognize, all right, what are the things that I need to do so that I can build my business properly? And you have to figure out what those items are. So it could vary every single week because I can tell you as an entrepreneur, none of my weeks are the same. So when it comes to building your business, I'm gonna give you some ideas of things that you might want to consider. Content creation, right? You have to create content so that you can market your business, so that you can do all the things you need to do. Are you going to networking events? Are you receiving coaching, which I highly recommend that you do. So you need to count some time for you to get your own coaching and your own mentorship. Are you doing client calls every single week? And then how many hours a week do you actually have available for client calls? Because a lot of the times people go, oh, I want 25 clients. You don't have space for 25 clients. Like if you have 30 extra hours in your week after you've done all the obligatory stuff and you have 30 extra hours, you don't have 25 hours to take client calls. Like you don't, because there's so many other things in your business that have to be taken care of. There's administrative things. And so you don't have time for 25 clients. You might have time for 5, you might have time for 6, maybe even 7. But if you had 30 hours to do whatever you want with, I would not recommend that you take those 30 hours and focus on getting 25 clients. Do you have to create proposals? Are you building an online course right now? Because that takes time. So all of the things that have to get done in your business, you have to use the 30 hours that you have, or whatever the number is, you have to use that and then figure out where am I going to fit all of these things. So each week you take a look at how many hours you have left and then you make a list the same way that we made a list of all the things that you had to do. You're now going to make a list of all the things that you want to do for your business, and then you're going to start plugging it in. All right, I have 3 hours Monday evening so that I can speak to clients. All right, I'm going to block that off and I'm going to say this is my client time. All right, I have 2 hours on a Saturday morning before everyone else gets up in the house. I have 2 hours to work on YouTube videos or to work on Instagram posts or TikTok, whatever it is. I have 2 hours, so I'm going to block that off as content creation time. All right, Sunday evening, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes before I go to bed to plan out my week. So I'm going to do this entire exercise weekly. It seems like a lot, but it does get a little bit easier. But you need to do this exercise until it is so ingrained in your brain that you want to make sure that everything lives and exists on your calendar. Now, here's the kicker. Once you've done all the obligatory stuff and you've done all the things that you want to do for your business, what did we say earlier? Do what's on the calendar. Do what's in the planner. If you try to freestyle this will not work. If you write things down and you have no intention of following through, this will not work. For your own benefit, to support your dreams, to support your goals, to support you having the biggest and best year moving forward, you have to be militant about this for a period of time. I think for me, it took about a month or 2 to really sort of get the hang of the fact that I was operating according to a calendar, and I had to be very diligent at saying no to things. So meaning if on my calendar it said I needed to create content on a Thursday evening, and then I was invited out to dinner or to happy hour with my friends, and I don't have that space blocked off for myself, I would have to say no. And saying no is actually more supportive of your dreams than going to the happy hour. I understand that we need to let loose and we need to exercise self-care and we need to do all those things. That's great. Put it in your calendar. When are you going to do self-care? When are you going to hang out with your friends? I used to be so precise with my day-to-day activities is I would even write, I don't have my journals with me here, or my planner, my old planners, I still have them. I don't have them with me here because I'm in my Atlanta house and all that stuff is in Miami, but if I can find a photo of it, I'll plaster it up somewhere. But I was so diligent with my calendar that I would put in drink coffee. Like I would take 30 minutes and every single day at like 11 or 11:30, I would say drink coffee. Like that would be my coffee time. It sounds ridiculous, but that's the way that I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar business, is making sure that my time management was on point. It's the way that I can focus on my clients. It's the way that when I'm talking to my clients, I'm not worried about who I need to speak to next because I'm only concerned with what I'm doing presently. Another thing that having really good time management skill affords you is peace of mind. It's very normal to take a look at all of the things that have to take place in your life and to get very overwhelmed by it. And some people, let's be honest, don't navigate through overwhelm very well. They look at overwhelm and they just completely shut down. They end up doing nothing. Some people look at the overwhelm and they're just working to the point where they end up burning out because they just are so focused on productivity. When you learn the art of taking all of the things that you have to do and putting them on the calendar somewhere, there's a part of your brain that goes, okay, there's a place for that. If I say to myself, you know, Tracy, at some point this week, you need to make sure that you call the cable company. As soon as I say that to myself, I go to my calendar, I find an open space where I have enough time to do it, and I give myself the time that I need. So if it's going to take me more than 5 minutes, I'm not going to just say it's going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to give myself 30 or whatever. I'm going to write it in, call cable company. You know what that does? That removes the idea of having to call the cable company out of your brain. It's no longer taking up space rent-free because there's a space for it on your calendar. So now consciously and subconsciously, I know that I don't have to think about calling the cable company every single day because there's a spot on my calendar where I've allocated time in order to complete that task. That's why time management is so powerful. It simply just gives you the peace of mind that everything is in fact going to get done and you don't have to be overwhelmed with the day-to-day because all you're responsible for is what's happening right now. People often discuss, the concept of work-life balance, and I've been asked that question a lot when I speak on panels or if I'm doing an interview somewhere, and I always say I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't. I believe in focus. There is no balance. Like whenever I am showing up for the thing that I'm showing up for, that I'm doing that, right? I don't go, oh, well, I need to spend 40 hours working in my business, and then I need to spend 40 hours hanging out with my friends, and then another 40 hours with my family, and another 40 hours at church. Like that would be balance, right? Balance means that things are equal. I'm not trying to balance anything. I'm trying to make sure that the thing that I'm tasked to do at the moment, I am fully present for, and I'm giving it all of the focus and attention that it deserves. So if I'm talking to a client, I'm talking to my client. I'm making sure that I'm fully present for that client. What I'm not doing is thinking about the car appointment that I have next Tuesday, or the fact that I have to place an order for food for a dinner party that I have coming down the road, because those things already have places on my calendar that I've allocated so that I can be fully attentive to those things when the time comes. Before I go into my final thoughts about the whole thing, let me talk about the giveaway. I'm going to give away a planner. Really, it's going to be a simple weekly agenda. I don't want you to focus on different charts or coloring or anything like that. Those are great, but let's be honest, when we don't have enough time, or we think that we don't have enough time as is, we don't want to allocate any more time to navigating through our week than we need to. So it's going to be a very simple but effective weekly agenda. I'm also going to give away a set of like highlighters and markers and pens that you can use for that. And then lastly, I'm going to give away a wall calendar. It may not be this color, but I'm going to give a wall calendar so that you have all of the tools that you need to set yourself up for success. The lighting has changed behind me. Did you I just noticed that in the camera. I almost forgot to tell you how to enter the giveaway. In order to enter the giveaway, you have to comment down below what your vision is for 2025. Name one thing or two things or 5 things that you want to make sure that you accomplish next year. You'll be entered into the giveaway, and on January 10th, I will choose a winner. I will contact you and get your address so I can send you all of the things inside the giveaway. All right, so that's the giveaway. Before we conclude the video, I do want to talk about the concept of time blindness, because I think that that's a real thing, that there are in fact people that are time blind, meaning that they don't have the ability to navigate time well. They're always late for things, they underestimate how much time it truly takes, or they overestimate it because there's a concept called time blind. It happens a lot with neurodivergent people. And I want to say, number one, there is no judgment on those things. It's a real thing where people have a difficult time understanding the concept of time. If that is you, please do not be upset with yourself or judge yourself or wish that you were different. That's not helpful. It's also not the most empowered place to begin the conversation around navigating time well. The better thing to do is to practice this, because practice is what's going to help you get better at it. If you do your time management for a week and you realize, oh, I underestimated how much time it takes for me to drive to work, or oh, I overestimated how much time it takes for me to eat dinner, like all of that is fine. then you adjust for the next week. And then eventually you really do hit a stride on understanding how much time it takes. But that comes with practice. It comes with actually expecting and inspecting what you've done. You have to be patient with yourself. This is not something that you're going to learn how to do overnight or even over several nights. It may take you a few weeks, if not a couple of months. All of the dreams and goals and the resolutions and the things that you've written out for next year are 100% available to you. Oftentimes, though, there is a difference in identity and action, meaning that you have these goals, but you don't have the identity of somebody that can meet those goals because you're not taking the action of someone that has the identity that can meet those goals. If you have big goals and big dreams, like let's take me, for example. I've built several multi-million-dollar businesses, and there are many of you who have that exact same dream, and I love that for you, and it's 100% possible. I am not a special snowflake. If I can do it, you can do it. But I had to switch my identity and stop acting like somebody who didn't want to make millions of dollars. I had to do the things that millionaires do. One of those things is understanding how I was spending my time and give myself the time, space, and practice to get better at managing it in favor of the thing that I said that I wanted, which is having a multi-million-dollar business. And I still have big goals and dreams. You know what I'm doing? Making sure that how I'm spending my time is aligned with the thing that I say that I want. You can have big goals, big dreams. You can have a vision board the size of Montana. You can pray over everything. You can sprinkle holy water on it. You can speak in tongues over everything that you have on that vision board. But if you're not willing to take action on it, then none of it's going to matter. You have to be willing to shift into, okay, this is the vision that I have for my life, and this is required so that I can execute on that vision. Okay, if you have questions, the comment section is there for you. I'm happy to answer anything, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!